Hey, this is John from TCO Fly Shop, and today we're going to be tying the Hoh Bo Spey. Originally, it was designed to catch steelhead in the Olympic Peninsula out in Washington, but it works equally as well here with our Great Lakes fisheries. Really easy fly to tie, tons of movement with the marabou on the front, and you could do it in a bunch of different color combos. If you'd like to get into swinging for steelhead, I would definitely give this one a shot. First step is I got a 25mm fish skull shank here, and some intruder wire. They make two sizes of this. This is the larger one for size 6 and bigger. And then this is a Gamakatsu octopus hook in a 4. Depends on the size of fly. You can make it a little bulkier and go up to a 2, but the 4 seems to work well. The wire just gets looped through the eye, and then you can either run this with the hook down or up. This is an unweighted one, so it's not really going to bounce around on the bottom too much. So I think it'll be fine running the hook down. Usually just fish these with a sink tip. So the shank, you gotta close the gaps on the wire first. Make sure they're straight because they can move around a little bit. So get everything covered, and then make sure the edges of the wire are covered in thread because it's really easy to break thread later if there's a sharp edge there. And then sometimes you have to mess with this a little bit to make sure the wire's straight. So I have a piece of wire on each side of the shank. As far as the length, I usually have fly tied already. You can use that as an example, but you want the marabou at the end to just barely cover the hook, so if they nip at the end of it, the hook's just waiting there for them. I have enough wire here that if I need to swap this hook out, if it gets dull or I bend it out, I can still put a new one on. Just make sure that wire's straight. So this is the time to fix it. If the wire's a little twisted, you can still mess with it. If you wait until later, there's nothing you can do. I'll fold this wire back, just make sure it can't slip out. Take an old pair of scissors or wire cutters and just cut that. And then same thing with the loops on the wire. Make sure the ends of that are covered because that'll cut your thread sometimes. So we're going to start with a dubbing loop. This is Senyo's Fusion Dub in the Eat a Peach color. I got some UV hot pink ice dub. I'm just going to mix a little bit together. With the loop big enough to get probably about 3 inches of dubbing in here. So I just start with one clump at a time and just kind of feed it up the dubbing loop. Some of this is going to fall out, so you can add a little bit more than you think sometimes, and you're going to end up picking at it, and it's not going to get every single piece of it. So usually I start twisting it, and then I take a bodkin before I get it wrapped too tight and pick some of these fibers that get trapped. Spin it a little bit more. So you spin it all the way. In the beginning, they get really stuck in there. It's hard to get them out. Give it a couple more spins. And then I don't really want to travel up the hook shank too much. I'm just trying to keep this in the back of the fly to prop everything else up. Just act like a hot spot as well. One wrap on top of itself. The same thing, like these get tangled as you wrap them, so keep your brush handy just to pick these out. That should be enough. So if you feel like you have enough, you can just tie off the dubbing loop right there. You don't have to keep wrapping until you're at the end of it. Take some strung guinea. So we're gonna tie this in by the tip. So fold these back. We're not gonna wrap everything, so this fluff at the end, I'm just gonna peel this off because we're not gonna need it. So before I do the next step, I'm just gonna smooth this out because we're gonna wrap some sparkle braid up there, and if you have a huge bump, it's not gonna wrap quite as nice. This is just black sparkle braid. Yeah, you can do a lot of color combos on this. You can make the braid be the hot spot, so you can use a bright color like pink or purple or silver. This one I feel like I have enough color with the other stuff, so I'm just gonna do black. You can also just use a little bit of dubbing instead of the sparkle braid here. This is just a filler, just so you don't see the shank. So I wrapped up basically to where the loop of the eye was starting. Try and fold these a little bit. They're going to want to spin around, but you can do big open loops here, just trying to cover the shank up, but it's gonna look a little messy in the beginning. Clean this up a little bit. I'm gonna tie in a little bit of craft fur. Sometimes I'm using black marabou on this in the next step, and the black marabou is not the best quality. Sometimes it's kind of sparse, so the fly can look almost too skinny. I'm just gonna put in a little bit more material on the top of this. You can use Arctic Fox too, that's another good wing material. Just to give it a little bit more bulk on top. It should ride correctly. And the craft fur, if I leave that too long, I can always trim it. You got synthetics in the fly, you can cut them. Palmer some marabou. It's the same thing as the guinea. We're gonna tie it in by the tip. I'm not gonna need all this, so I'm gonna peel off some of this really webby stuff at the back of the feather. And fold that stem back before I cut it, just so it doesn't slip out. And this, I usually take my time with, because like marabou, when you palmer it, tends to get tangled pretty bad, so usually not in the beginning, but the more wraps you do, the more it wants to foul itself. So the brush will come in handy in a second once I get further into the feather. Yeah, this is a little Stanfo dubbing brush and comb, works really good at this. Should be good. Now I'm getting into the really thick part of the stem. This is where if you do too many wraps, it'll break. Try not to trap too much marabou when I tie this off. So I got it set. I'm gonna cut the stem off and just fold that back. Just make sure I got it secure before I cut anything. So I get rid of this little extra piece of the stem. Sometimes you can just fold it back with your fingernail and then cover it with thread. So pretty much done. I'm just going to add a little bit of flash. This is a Opal Mirage flashabou. This stuff's really bright. So I'm not going to need a lot. I just tie in 2 whole strands right in the middle. And then I'm going to fold it back. So we're getting 4 total right on top. You don't need a lot of this stuff. It really ends up being bright in the water, so. Some barred predator wrap. Barred flashabou works good. Just anything with like that barring. It has some movement to it and a little bit of flash. So I'm just gonna lay this on top, and then before I tie it in, just move it around the fly a little bit. Make sure it's tight. Cut these butt ends off. Try to get them close, because any material hanging out the front of the fly right now, you're probably going to see it, because you're not going to be able to cover it up with thread. Just build like as clean of a thread head as you can. Depends on how big that marabou stem was. Sometimes they look a little ugly, but you can cover it up. Just doing one whip finish, and then I'm going to put some resin all the way around, so it'll be durable. Usually use this with a spey rod, and the casting can be a little aggressive on flies, so you gotta make sure you got some glue on the front of this. You can also tie this with weight too. If you move the marabou back, just put some dumbbell eyes in. You can do the same pattern with a little extra weight. Let's see how long the flash is. Some of these are a little longer than I'd like, so when you come in with your scissors, you don't want to just cut everything. So if you trim it at an angle, you're not going to remove them all at the same time. I'll just give it it's like a artificial taper, but it'll look good. And try not to cut the marabou. You end up getting some of the craft fur too, but just overall, it looks like it's got a good taper. Hook's right where you want it. The hook's replaceable, you know, just pick the color combo you want. Black and chartreuse, black and pink, purple and black. Just give it a shot.